So part of our challenge is fostering growth for all students, and that's a big shift that we're seeing with the new assessments from our state and from other curriculum-based assessments. So the key is to finding those individual student strengths and needs through an adaptive assessment process. That means the assessment changes based on the responses of our students. You know that in a classroom, you give lots of formatives. And for our definition, formative is one that is something you learn from. It forms the instructional decisions that you make for those students that you're working with. We have math that's done in the fall, voluntarily, but most in the winter, and then in the spring. And then we have this window of state assessments with KITE that kind of shifts through late spring, and it's becoming later. It used to be kind of spring break, but now it's more April, what we're seeing. So we can use those in a lot of different ways, but this is basically how it looks in a school year. There's several different types of MAP testing. We use mostly the survey with goals. So your students are going to be taking, on average, 42 to 64 questions, and they're going to get an overall score for reading and math. Those are the two we're going to be talking about most, are the ELA reading and then the math scores. Then it takes about an average of 50 minutes. It's average, it's not timed, which is another benefit for students to take longer if they need to. And because it gets harder, the more they go, it may take more time than that. There's also surveys that are just more simple, kind of just pinpoints that I don't know if we use as often in this district, but it's available.
I noticed this year it took my students a lot longer than 50 minutes. It was much longer than any years before. Did anybody else experience that?
What's the difference in questions?
Yeah.
We're seeing the shift to more of the college and career readiness standard questions.
And when you have the younger grades, having them sit there for an hour and a half without any break, that, I mean, after the first time, we just took a 10-minute, you know.
Have to be professional, and you have to use your professional judgment on those speeches. Absolutely.
You know, that's a long time for those little younger grades to sit there.
Yeah, well said. We know that we need lots of different multiple measures like you talked about. Our state or annual assessments aren't going to be valid for most likely 3 years, so it becomes more on these periodic district tests and your local assessments that we need to be able to make decisions. So our three-legged stool is more like a two-legged for a while, but we're going to get back, we hope. So the importance is there for math to be one of those snapshots. This is what it looks like if you're not. Here's an example of 4th grade for math. There are tools that are embedded in that they use, so they shouldn't need other forms of accommodation. Everything should be there for the most part. Is that what you see as well? Okay. So just very quickly. Then you get a score. Something like this is the screenshot that you get at the end. Students have the option of printing this, or some other teachers write down things on spreadsheets, however you'd like. The reporting that we're going to show you is where everything funnels into to get these scores in one place. So you're not having to run around with a clipboard to write everything down. We're going to show you where to go to get all of it at the end. So does that make sense? What you see is if you're a student, that's the screenshots there. One thing that was really helpful for me was to look at what types of questions they have based on their ranking scale, their RIT scores, and we'll cover that. If you go to the back of your packet, I want you just to spend a little bit of time. Can I hold yours up for a second? Thank you. We copied off these for you because I thought it was really beneficial. So you'll start with a page that looks like this, and then on the back you'll see the ELA. The very first column gives you the skill areas. If you could highlight or underline what you see as the skill in the first column. So word recognition might be underlined, vocabulary might be underlined. If you read there might be other things. Go ahead and underline what you see for the ELA.